I am coming on, and yes, this is my third video in this outfit today because I am on a content creation roll, and I'm just gonna own that. I am totally okay with that. But I wanted to come online because I wanted to share with you guys the free pattern for this little cat keychain that I made up. It is a free pattern that I'm offering on my Instagram and also now through this YouTube. There is a written pattern that, you know, if you prefer to have a printout version, you can go onto my Etsy. I have a 30% off pattern sale happening right now, so that's available there if that is something that interests you more. But the written pattern is available on my Instagram. Please feel free to go on there. I will leave my tag in the description box, and also if you do better with YouTube kind of crochet alongs, then this is here for you too, so you can get that free content. But I do think that this is gonna be something that hopefully sells at my markets. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I talk about in some of my other videos. This was actually a freebie I created for a friend of mine that does a lot of work with foster animals. I so admire her and her partner who are out there doing their thing to save all the little baby animals. So I had sent that to her. She had ordered from me on my Etsy, and I had just wanted to send it along as a little thank you. And then in that, I created the pattern and thought that maybe I could also send it out to the community here as something to say thank you to you all as well for joining me. So available on my Instagram for free, available on my Etsy if you prefer the written pattern to be able to print that out, and available here via YouTube for our auditory and visual learners. So I'm having New England problems over here where I'm just losing daylight constantly. So I am just trying to keep you all not in the dark over here. So anyway, that is this pattern. I am going to go through the instructions here today. This is definitely also something that I feel like every time I see keychains, I have a little gripe about this. It kind of frustrates me that I feel like this is a keychain size keychain. I feel like this is totally acceptable. And then I see a lot of keychains that are super cute, but like they're huge. I feel like there's more like backpack clips. Like that's a lot. I already don't have enough room in my bag. Like that's a lot for me to put in my purse. So having something small like this is really more on brand with what I want for a keychain. So that is what I am posting here. And I just like the size of it. So if it's something that works for you, hope you enjoy making it with me. Okay, so for this pattern, you will need a small amount of yarn. This is definitely a scrap yarn project. So grab whatever's on hand. I feel like it would be cruel of me to have made this pattern in a black yarn, like the cat that was featured. But also it's occurring for me when I look at my background, it is cruel of me to make this in brown yarn. So I will be just right back. Let me pick a different color. Let's have a fun, let's make a purple cat. Okay, so here we go. That's a little bit better. That feels a lot better actually, for you folks to be able to see this. But so I'm gonna choose a purple yarn. This is a scrap yarn project. I definitely think I'll have more than enough here. I like little hacks. So this is a Dollar Tree hack for anyone that's interested. Those little ends that run away on you, feel free to grab a pack of children's or adults' little hair clip things, and I use those to keep my ends tight. So I have that. I need this. I need for this project a tiny bit of stuffing. This will be more than enough. I need a 4mm hook. This yarn I am working with is Premier just chenille, which comes, you can actually buy it at the dollar store. That's how I got introduced to chenille. But that is the yarn that I'm using here is Premier chenille. And then you just need a small amount of white and pink for the accents and a pair of either safety eyes, or I am using felt eyes that I purchased on Amazon. These are 1/2-inch eyes, and I printed the little pupils on my Cricut. So I kind of love the effect that that gives. So these are the materials that we're going to be using to make this project. And of course, as with every project, needle, scissors. I'm so sad because I actually lost my favorite darning needle I say my favorite, it was the last 4. I ordered 4 and they're all gone, but everyone knows that's crochet problems 101. So I'm gonna put this aside and then we're gonna work through the pattern. Okay, so I have my small amount of scrap yarn and my 4mm hook, which works for this. I am going to make a slip stitch. Some people use magic ring. I don't think magic ring works for a lot of chenille yarn. So I am just going to be doing the chain 2 method. And so to start, I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. And what I'm not going to do is count out loud because that drives me insane. When I am watching something that does that, I'm always like, how am I supposed to count if I'm listening to you count? So I'm not going to count. So I'm doing chain 2. This is worked not in continuous rounds, just so you know, so you will not need to spiral or use a stitch marker unless you need to for your own peace of mind, but it's not worked in the spiral. It uses the join and chain 1 method. So chain 2, and then in the first chain, I'm going to place 6 single crochets. I always like to kind of crochet the tail in a little bit to give that extra security. So that's what I've done on the round 1. I have chained 6 in the second chain from the hook. And then I'm going to slip stitch to the very first stitch. Oh gosh, sorry, it's my first time doing this. Slip stitch to the very first stitch, pull through, and then chain 1. So round 2, I'm going to increase in each stitch around. That means I'm going to put 2 single crochets in each single crochet from the previous round. So I'm going to end up with a total of 12. So I'm starting here and putting 2 into each stitch. Tough to see in the chenille, but I believe in you. I use feel a lot of the time if I am struggling to find the stitches. You can kind of feel the little indent where there's the emptiness from the loop there, okay? Okay, so I've done now 12 stitches into here. I'm going to slip stitch back into the first single crochet of round 2. I'm going to slip stitch, pull that through, and then I'm going to chain up 1. Now I'm going to do 1 single crochet and an increase 6 times. So that will grow the circle size. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then in the next stitch, I'm going to put 2 single crochets in the same stitch. That's an increase. And I'm going to repeat that 6 more times. So just to say it out loud for the next few, 1 single crochet, and then an increase in the next stitch. 1 single crochet, and then an increase in the next stitch. So that's, I'm not going to say how many times I've done that, but repeat that around. Hopefully everything's staying in focus for you guys. I apologize if I ever move off screen at any point. This is my very first crochet along video. Okay, so I got to the end of round 3. I am going to put my hook into the first single crochet of round 3, pull the loop through to slip stitch, and then I'm going to chain up 1. Rounds 4 through 7, I'm going to single crochet around. At the end of each round, I'm going to do what we just did here, which is slip stitch into the first stitch of that round, pull through and chain up 1. So that's going to grow my circle taller, right? So we're going to start to create the space. So I'm going to do that for rounds 4 through 7, which is a total of 4 rounds. I will do the first round with you, and then after that, we'll probably join up together. So 1 in 1 stitch, There'll be a total of 18 stitches in each of these rounds. So I'm just putting 1 in each stitch of the previous round. Again here, I can see my stitches because I'm using this lighter yarn, but I also am going by feel. So if I'm covering the stitches at all, I apologize. I'm trying to pop that out for you guys. And then I got to the end. I'm going to put my hook through. I'm going to pull my loop through, and then I'm going to chain up 1. So I'm going to repeat that 3 more times. So I have a total of 4 rounds of just 18 single crochets, not including the round where we built up. So coming back, I'm at the end of round 7, finishing my last stitch, slip stitching to join, and chaining up 1. So now for round 8, what I'm going to do is a single crochet invisible decrease around to bring my total stitch count down to 12 again. So I'm going to single crochet, and then I'm going to invisible decrease. So I'm going to go under the front loop of my first stitch, rather my next stitch, and the front loop of my stitch after that, pull the yarn up for both, and then with 3 loops on my hook, I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do a single crochet, and then I'm going to do an invisible decrease over the next 2 stitches. Decreasing is bringing your stitch count lower by pulling those stitches together. So I'm going to single crochet through the front loop only. I'm going to pull up a loop, go through the front loop only, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through all of my loops. Then my single crochet is going to go through my next stitch entirely. My decrease, the invisible decrease, this is the difference here, right? You're going only through the front loops for your invisible decrease. So I'm going to do that. Go through, pull over all 3, and I'm repeating that around. Single crochet, invisible decrease. Oops. Okay, and so I'm at the end of round 8 now, pulling up for my final decrease. I am once again going to slip stitch to join and pull through both. And I'm going to pause here. I'm not going to pull up the chain yet. What I am going to do is stuff my little kitty cat. So this takes, I showed you all far too much stuffing. This really takes a tiny amount of stuffing. I'm going to put that in. I like to make sure like it's stuffed, but I can still kind of pinch the sides together and not have the stuffing interfere with me. I feel like that's a good level of stuffing for this project. So now I'm going to pinch the 2 halves of the cat together. I always do this so I don't lose my yarn. So I am pinching the 2 halves of the top closed, and I'm making sure I'm working through the top stitch of both sides. I'm going to chain 2. Then I'm going to double crochet, and I'm going to go through the same stitch that I just came up from. Okay, so it's that first stitch. So I'll show you one more time. So I chained up from this stitch. I'm going to go through that same stitch, and I am also going to make sure I'm going through the corresponding stitch on the other side. And I'm doing a double crochet. Okay, this is going to create the cat's ear, the tallness of the cat's ear. So I did a double crochet there. Then I'm going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch, making sure I'm going through both loops of this as well as both loops of the stitch that you're holding, that you're pinching together. Okay, half double crochet, and I'm going to pull that up. And this is creating that cat ear. Then I'm going to go into, I jumped ahead, but I'm going to go into this third stitch, making sure I'm going through both sides, pinching this together the whole time, and I'm going to slip stitch. And I'm going to do that one time, and then I'm going to slip stitch a second time. Then I'm going to half double crochet into the next stitch. And then on my last stitch, I am going to do 2 double crochets. So that's 1, and then into the same stitch, the second double crochet. Okay, and so look at that, little cat ears have formed. So cute. And so then what I like to do, rather than just fastening off, I like to go down this side a couple of stitches to kind of not have that kind of looseness to the ear edge, and it creates a little bit of a framing for it. So I go down 2 or 3 stitches for this one in particular. I'm going to do 3 stitches, and that creates the little cat ears there. And then I am going to just yarn over, pull through, and cut my yarn. And look, I won Yarn Chicken. I did not win Yarn Chicken last time I played. So I'm happy to win it this time. But definitely a scrap yarn project, in case you couldn't tell. So this is my little cat. I am going to weave in this tail end. I just kind of pull mine back and forth a couple of times through the little kitty cat. You can do whatever works for you. I lost my yarn end. These are not my favorite needles. My favorite needles are metal ones with a little, they have like a curved tip. I found them on Temu actually, and I ordered at least 4 of them, and guess what? They're all gone. So here we are. Okay, so I weaved that through a couple times. I'm gonna snip that off. Next thing that I'm going to do here is to embroider the face. So I will show you the face on this cat that's already complete. For me, what I am going to do is use my felt eyes. That again, I found these little black circle dots on Amazon. These are 1/2-inch dots. And then I Cricut cut my pupils and made a few of those using iron-on, Cricut iron-on. And so I'm just going to use this one as my frame of reference. And it looks like I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Around row 6, I am putting the little eyeball just under the inside of the ear. And then here, I'm going to put the other one. You can also add a dab of hot glue to the back of these. I have found that it's pretty secure on the chenille. But you can add a dab of hot glue if that makes you feel better. Now, I've decided already that I'm not going to add ear accents to this guy. I am going to add a little nose. But the ear accents, just so you know, you do what you need to, but they're made just by kind of sewing a little, using white thread or whatever accent color you wish, and creating little triangles to highlight the ears. And the nose is created by just putting a single stitch through in between the 2 eyeballs. So I will do that here on camera with you. Very small amount of pink yarn needed for that, or whichever color you so choose. I like to start a little further over. It's easier to get kind of a clean edge to your stitch. And then I'm going actually in between here, highlighting that, pulling it through for that teeny tiny little nose, mouth, whichever you wish for it to be. It's cute, and that's what matters. Then I'm going to just tie off my yarn here. I'm going to snip that, so not quite so much. Then I'm going to tuck it in. Attach a keychain, however you would attach a keychain normally. Mine, I kind of just run it through, but I have seen some cute little hacks for how to attach your keychain, but I just kind of run mine through the top. But at the end of the day, here is our little purple cat that I've created. I think it's a great little keychain, very whimsical. I hope you all had fun making this with me, and I hope it makes you a little bit of money or brings you a little bit of joy if that's what you're here for. But all right, thanks so much everyone for joining me. I hope this was helpful to you, and I cannot wait to see you all out there.